In a world saturated with information and often desensitized to conflict, it's easy to view events unfolding far away as just another headline, a fleeting moment in the 24-hour news cycle. But what happens when a distant conflict begins to feel a little too close to home? Are we witnessing just another distant conflict, a tragedy unfolding on a screen, soon to be replaced by the next breaking story? Or is this something more profound, a pivotal moment, a turning point that will irrevocably define our generation and the world we inherit? On June 14, 2025, a seemingly ordinary day as sirens wailed across Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, piercing the calm of a late spring afternoon, the world seemed to stop, holding its breath in anticipation and dread. The skies over Israel lit up with missiles, streaks of fire cutting through the darkness, and interceptors, a dance of destruction and defense played out in real time, a direct assault from Iran, a bold and unprecedented act of aggression, not a proxy war fought in the shadows, but a state-on-state attack, a declaration of open hostility. Suddenly, the Middle East's complex politics, a web of alliances, rivalries, and historical grievances, became a clear and present danger, a threat not just to the region, but to global stability, threatening to draw in global superpowers, each with their own interests and agendas. This was more than a geopolitical crisis. It transcended borders and political maneuvering. It was a spiritual and existential one, shaking the foundations of our beliefs and values, forcing us to confront uncomfortable questions of hatred, hope, and purpose in a world seemingly teetering on the brink. The events of that night, seared into our collective memory, shattered our illusions of distance and safety. The comforting notion that we are somehow immune to the world's troubles, demanding our attention and engagement, compelling us to look beyond our own lives and consider the fate of others. This is not a time for passive observation, for turning away from the difficult realities that confront us, but for deep reflection and decisive response, for choosing action over apathy, and engagement over indifference. The shockwaves are still being felt, reverberating through our societies and our souls, forcing our generation to grapple with history, prophecy, and our own place within it, to understand the forces that have shaped our world, and to consider the legacy we will leave behind. Just after midnight, June 14, 2025, Iran launched a massive direct attack on Israel. Over 200 suicide drones, 150 cruise missiles, and 120 ballistic missiles targeted critical Israeli infrastructure. The Nevatim airbase, intelligence hubs and military bases were in the crosshairs. Israel's air defenses, including Iron Dome and Arrow 3, were pushed to their limits. In a rare coalition, American, British, and Jordanian forces joined Israel, intercepting 99% of the threats. A few missiles caused minor damage, but Iran's attack failed strategically. The psychological impact, however, was immense. Iran had crossed a red line within 48 hours. Israel launched Operation Persian Shield, striking Iranian military targets in retaliation. Global markets panicked, oil prices surged, and the world braced for escalation. The planet watched, wondering if this would ignite a catastrophic regional war. Why did Iran strike now? Years of crippling sanctions, economic collapse, and civil unrest left the regime desperate. Facing internal dissent, Tehran sought to rally its people by targeting a common enemy. Recent Israeli strikes on Iranian commanders and a cyber attack on a nuclear facility pushed Iran to retaliate publicly. The attack was also a response to Israel's growing alliances with Sunni Arab states, threatening Iran's regional influence. Iran aimed to intimidate its neighbors and disrupt this new coalition. Underlying it all is a messianic ideology. Some Iranian leaders see chaos and war as a path to fulfilling prophecy. This was not just politics or strategy, but a volatile mix of desperation, geopolitics, and religious fanaticism. Today's Iran is the modern face of ancient Persia, a nation central to biblical history and prophecy. The Bible's Ezekiel 38 names Persia as a key player in an end-times assault on Israel, a prophecy that now feels eerily relevant. For the first time in millennia, Israel is restored in its land, and a radicalized Persia leads a coalition against it. The spiritual dimension is clear. The Bible describes a hidden battle behind world events, with spiritual forces influencing nations. Zechariah predicted Jerusalem would become a cup of trembling for the world. Today it's the most contested city on earth. Jesus warned of wars and rumors of wars as signs of the end. The convergence of ancient prophecy and current events is undeniable. We may be living in a time of profound prophetic significance. The Iranian attack plunged our generation into anxiety and confusion, amplifying fears about the future. Social media became a battleground of information and misinformation. AI-generated images, fake videos, and propaganda blurred reality. The mental toll was real. Vicarious trauma, anxiety, and a sense of helplessness spread rapidly. Many felt pressured to have instant opinions, yet overwhelmed by the complexity. Yet the crisis also awakened some, cutting through distractions and prompting deeper engagement with history, politics, and faith. Young people began seeking reliable sources and asking serious questions. The event became a catalyst, shaking many out of apathy. It forced us to confront the larger story unfolding around us. In a world saturated with information and constant stimulation, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Are we becoming numb to the endless stream of crises, both near and far? Are we shutting down emotionally as a defense mechanism against the weight of the world? Or, amidst the chaos, are we finally waking up? Is a new awareness dawning, a realization that we can no longer afford to remain passive observers? Many, understandably, have developed emotional armor, a protective layer to shield themselves from the constant barrage of negativity. We find ourselves scrolling past tragedy after tragedy, a desensitizing act of self-preservation to protect themselves from the emotional toll. This numbness, while understandable, ultimately leads to passivity, a sense of helplessness in the face of overwhelming challenges, and this passivity can translate into a quiet acceptance of chaos, a resignation to the state of the world as if we have no power to change it. But for others, recent events, the attack, served as a spiritual alarm, a jarring wake-up call to the deeper realities at play, shattering complacency, the comfortable illusion that we can remain untouched by the world's problems, and revealing a deeper struggle, a timeless battle between good and evil, playing out on the world stage and within our own hearts. This awakening drives a search for meaning, a yearning to understand our place in the universe and to connect with something larger than ourselves. Shifting focus from the temporary, the fleeting distractions of the material world, to the eternal, the enduring values that give our lives purpose and direction. Our generation stands at a crossroads, a pivotal moment in history. One path leads to distraction and numbness, a continued descent into apathy and disengagement. The other to courage and engagement, a commitment to facing the challenges of our time with open hearts and minds. The easy path is detachment, to retreat into our own private worlds and ignore the suffering around us. But it leaves us empty and unprepared, ill-equipped to navigate the complexities of the world and to contribute to its healing. The harder path requires humility, a willingness to acknowledge our limitations and to learn from others. Wisdom, the ability to discern truth from falsehood, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths, even when they challenge our own beliefs. The events in Israel and Iran force us to choose, to confront the realities of conflict and injustice, retreat into numbness, shielding ourselves from the pain and suffering of others, or wake up and seek truth, to engage with the world with compassion and a desire to make a difference. The choice is ours, the future hangs in the balance. Spectator, passively watching the drama unfold from the sidelines, or participant in the story unfolding, actively shaping the narrative and contributing to a more just and peaceful world. In the aftermath, the greatest challenge is discerning truth in a post-truth era. Propaganda and bias flood every channel. Both sides push their narratives. We must become active, critical thinkers, questioning sources, cross-referencing, and seeking deeper understanding. Political ideologies alone can't explain the depth of hatred or hope for peace. The Bible offers a unique perspective. Humanity is fallen, history is purposeful, and redemption is possible. In confusion, the Bible provides an anchor, a coherent worldview, and a moral compass. Ultimately, the search for truth leads to Jesus, who claimed to be the way, the truth, and the life. The crisis can drive us to investigate this claim for ourselves, seeking truth that transforms. The weight of the world, the constant barrage of news, the complexities of the conflict, it can all feel incredibly overwhelming. We see the headlines, we hear the stories, and a sense of helplessness can easily creep in. But overwhelm must not lead to paralysis. We cannot afford to succumb to inaction. Hope is not a passive feeling, it's an active force. It's not simply wishing for a better future, but working towards it. It's about taking concrete steps, no matter how small, to make a positive difference in the world around us. Hope requires action. First, and perhaps most importantly, pray. Pray for peace. Pray for the peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that can only come from God. Pray for leaders. Pray that they would be guided by wisdom, integrity, and a genuine desire for justice and reconciliation. Pray for the people of Israel and Iran. Pray for their safety, their well-being, and for opportunities for dialogue and understanding. Pray for an end to the cycle of violence and for a future where both nations can coexist in peace, and for the church to be a light in darkness. Pray that the church would rise above the divisions and be a beacon of hope, love, and reconciliation in a world desperately in need of it. Prayer is not just a ritual, it's strategic, inviting God's power into desperate situations. It's a recognition that we are not alone in this struggle and that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. Second, be informed. Don't rely on sound bites and social media headlines. Diversify your sources. Seek out multiple perspectives and challenge your own assumptions. Read history. Understand the historical context of the conflict and the complex factors that have contributed to it. Follow credible journalists who are committed to reporting the truth, even when it's difficult or unpopular, and study the Bible for wisdom and discernment. Seek God's perspective on the conflict and allow His Word to guide your thoughts and actions. Third, stand for peace and truth. Refuse to fuel hatred. Reject the rhetoric of division and demonization. Treat others with respect, even those with whom you disagree. And use your influence to build up, not tear down. Promote understanding, empathy, and compassion. Support humanitarian aid organizations that are providing assistance to those affected by the conflict. Be a peacemaker in your community. Seek out opportunities to bridge divides and promote understanding among those around you. We can't solve the whole conflict. The issues are vast and deeply entrenched, but we can bring peace to our corner of the world. We can start by being a force for good in our own families, neighborhoods, and communities. Trust God with the big picture. Acknowledge that He is in control, even when things seem chaotic and uncertain, and be faithful with your part. Do what you can, with what you have, where you are. The mission to be salt and light begins now. It's a call to action, a call to service, and a call to faith. Our response matters. Let's act with courage and compassion. Let's be agents of healing and reconciliation in a broken world. Let's choose hope over despair, love over hate, and peace over violence. The time to act is now. Are we living through just another war or a defining moment for our generation? The answer is clear. This is a signpost in history. You can be a spectator, numbed and distracted, or you can be a participant, awake, engaged, and purposeful. The world urges you to watch from the sidelines, but God calls you to something greater. To participate is to recognize you were born for this moment, to seek truth, and to build your life on a foundation that endures. Pray, seek truth, stand for peace, and trust God with your future. The choice is yours, spectator or participant. As you face the chaos and fear, will you let it drive you to cynicism or to hope? Your choices today will echo into eternity. Reflect on your place in this unfolding story. Iran's attack isn't just a political event, it's a prophetic and generational moment. Our world is changing, and history is unfolding before our eyes. Do you think we're living in the end times? How has this conflict made you reflect on your own beliefs and future? If this video inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share it with friends who are asking big spiritual and world questions. Together, let's choose purpose over passivity. This is your moment. What will you do with it?